Object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external unbalanced force. Back in school, I wouldn't have given a single care to hear about some guy named Newton's laws about the universe. In pursuing alignment towards my highest self over the past 2 years, only recently hit me the importance of two things when it comes to just absolutely speed running progress. Converting intuition into execution and taking imperfect action. Because for most of my journey, I always neglected trusting my own intuition because I just cared so much about what other people thought. As a result, I really only ever felt confident in myself when other people essentially gave me the green light to do so, right? When I got that permission from others instead of getting that permission from myself to go and get after whatever it is that I wanted. Seek that validation from my parents, my friends, online influencers when it came to actually achieving the things that I desired. What this essentially did over time was kill my ability to execute on my own intuition, right? My own ideas. Early on, I couldn't see the consequences from living in this manner because I just simply lacked experience and knowledge when it came to aligning myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. I realize now there comes a point in your development where executing and leaning into your intuition proves far more valuable than constantly searching for outside external sources of information to truly unlock those new heights within your personal development. And so it was especially from this book right here, right, Reality Transurfing, where I began to understand the importance of leaning into that inner voice that compelled me to take these certain actions. Even then, I still found myself struggling to execute on whatever it is God was signaling me to do because I still wasn't fully placing my confidence in Him. I would overthink, I would doubt myself, I would think about, what other people would think, what other people would say. I would experience analysis paralysis, and overall just operating from a place of fear and thus never taking action as soon as those powerful ideas hit me. It's really been over the past 2 weeks since starting to seek that validation from God rather than in external factors that I've been gradually building the skill of converting intuition into execution. The truth is, you know better than anyone else what actions you actually need to take to move your life forward. No one can truly understand your own desires, your own needs, your own circumstances, your own beliefs except you. So it's why as of late, as soon as I get an idea as to how I can improve or take action when it comes to my health, my content, my relationships, simply allowing myself to just execute without overthinking about it, knowing that regardless of the outcome, it's always to my advantage. Truthfully, taking this type of action doesn't always have to end in success, right? Failure is actually good in this case. Perfectly leads into the second point of thus taking imperfect action when you're executing upon your intuition. I see now the main reason why people fail to trust that inner voice is because they lack conviction within themselves. Always expect failure or the worst possible outcome when it comes to taking that action that truly stems from within. So they'd rather have 100% certainty and ensure that that success is guaranteed as opposed to running the risk of experiencing that failure from taking that intuitive action. Exactly why I would always wait for some successful creator online, right? Somebody that I looked up to tell me to do X, Y, and Z before I truly felt confident to go and take action. All that does is externalize your power instead of internalize it when it comes to creating meaningful change within your life. Relying and depending on others and external factors to guide you down the path instead of leaning into yourself and trusting God. Within aligning my identity towards being a man that prioritizes that intuitive action throughout his day, a large part of it is accepting that not every single action has to work out the way I want it to. Even if I fail, there's still immense value that comes with knowing what to avoid, right? Knowing what not to do, and thus refining and adapting for the future. This way, imperfect action absolutely mogs the perfectionist, most optimal approach towards only taking action when that desired outcome is guaranteed. Instead of forcing myself to only move when skies are clear, right, I'm finally giving myself permission to walk through the fog, walk through the darkness within progressing towards that highest version of myself. Naturally, the path begins to illuminate as I walk it, right? Regardless if I stumble, as opposed to me just being stuck waiting for approval to even walk at all. Scripture reinforces this when Psalm 37:24 says, though they stumble, they will not fall. Once again, Proverbs 24:16, with the godly will trip 7 times, but they will always get back up again. Think of intuition as a muscle that needs to be built. And imperfect action is simply how you execute upon progressively overloading and strengthening that intuition muscle. You have that endurance of faith and just that conviction within God straightening your path, right? Regardless how many times you fall or stumble. I feel as though that's precisely what he's been calling me to do relative to staying in motion, right? Avoiding remaining idle and stagnant within this current 365-day mind, body, soul protocol I'm doing. Because if idle hands are the devil's workshop, best believe your boy is doubling down on imperfect, intuitive action to avoid allowing the enemy to pull me off the path that God has designed for me to walk. So for this video is actionable for alignment, I want to share what I've personally been doing to prioritize this form of intuitive action so you can try it for yourself. For one day, I want you to wake up and have zero clue what specific actions or what your general routine for the day will look like. Yes, you can still have that general intention of, going to the gym, doing work, having your meals. It's especially within that first hour of waking. I want you to just, walk, meditate, just do whatever it takes to hear that inner voice and allow it to set the tone for the day. Lean into what you naturally and intuitively feel compelled to do, as opposed to what you might have been telling yourself that you need to do in order to achieve your goals. Take your day hour by hour and plan as the day goes by, as opposed to planning, the night before. Write down about 5 to 10 of these intuitive actions and challenge yourself to complete them by the end of the day. Within the conversion process of intuition into execution, break those actions down into the smallest step possible so you can just start building that momentum and get the ball rolling. For me, if it's a video or content idea, I just start with writing down a rough outline of the video itself, as opposed to telling myself like, oh, I gotta record this whole video, oh, I gotta write out this whole video. Because that initial motion starts building the momentum that naturally allows me to carry out the action in full in terms of getting this out as a full-on post. Exactly what I did with this video that I'm recording right now. It started off as an outline, then it started with me converting that outline into a full post, and now I'm here recording it. All that I'm prescribing is that for a day, just try taking those intuitive forms of action when it comes to progressing within your fitness, within your work, within your personal goals, whatever it is that you just feel intuitively compelled to do, but you also know deep down, like, this is what's gonna actually move the needle. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. If this resonated at all and you're also in pursuit of becoming that best version of yourself, right, the 2.0 version of you, I'm currently in the midst of a year-long journey where I'm just allowing God to align me mentally, physically, and spiritually towards unlocking that 2.0 version of myself. I know that within aligning my fitness, my personal development, my content creation, my spirituality towards the man I envision for myself, it is just inevitable that I will achieve all the things that I desire and am aiming for. Energy and vitality, the physique, the mindset, the business, the relationships, the lifestyle, all of it. What I viscerally know now that I failed to understand for most of these past 2 years is that all of these things are just simply a side effect from placing your confidence in God, right? Internally. Fixating on the Creator himself and not his creation. So it's through taking that quick, intuitive action that I know he'll straighten me out so long as I walk the path. Nonetheless, appreciate you for making it this far, and I wish you the best within your own pursuit of that 2.0 version of yourself. As always, stay aligned.